Hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the South Stand View, the Leeds United podcast, where we'll be delving into everything from match analysis, team news, transfer news, and just generally sharing all our passion for Leeds United. We're Mike and Charlie, and we're very excited to start this podcast and connect with all you Leeds fans. It'll be full of banter, insightful, we hope, and we'll be looking to, make a real community for you guys and make it as interactive as possible. So let's get started, shall we, Charlie? How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, and just to obviously add to what Mike said there, guys, we don't claim to be in the nose or anything like that. We're just two fans that we're just going to chat shit basically about Leeds United. Just try and make it as laid back and as relatable as possible, just like you're having a chat with your mates in the pub, that sort of thing. We'll hopefully get people on, and we'll get everybody involved as well in the future, which will be good. So please make sure that you're liking, you're commenting, and subscribing as well. So yeah, obviously, I wish this had been on a slightly better note to start the podcast with, but yeah, a 1-1 draw at Deepdale, Mike. I mean, just your initial thoughts on it before we get into some specifics.
I was same as you, really, mate. I just thought, first podcast, Preston away. I thought we'll get a really good, dominant win, and we can be start the podcast with a big bang, basically. But that wasn't to be, was it, mate? Yeah, it seems to be the same old problem for us, doesn't it? Away from home. Obviously, we're dominant at home. We're just blowing everybody away at home. But for some reason, it's just not clicking, is it? Away. I just thought, we were struggling to, string passes together. We were struggling to create chances, and your players that have been really kind of performing at home kind of went missing a little bit, I think, yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was very flat. And again, is it just something as simple as at home we've got a full Ellen Road behind us, and away from home we obviously don't have that? I don't know, because I feel like it's like I'm watching two different teams at the minute. Obviously, I'm at the home games every week. I see how dominant that Leeds are, and then you watch games like that yesterday, and you think, is that the same team that just beat who was it, Borough on Tuesday night?
Totally smashed, totally dominated them as well, didn't we?
That's what I mean. And again, we made very light work of Derby, the Plymouth QPR games in, the most recent home ones. And then we play like we did at Blackburn as well. And then yesterday, which obviously we only just escaped Deepdale yesterday with a point, which we'll get into. But the lineup first, mate, what did you think to it? Were there any surprises for you? Or
yeah, there were surprises for me. Well, I think it were very much what you expected, but I think before, with Farke's press conference, I think I wasn't too sure whether Bogle were going to be playing, so I kind of thought to myself that it might be, there might be Schmidt at right back. I think there were we weren't too sure whether Wober were going to be playing. Obviously, he didn't play, but there were talk of Wober. I think there were talk of obviously Firpo were out as well, weren't he? So Byram was left back, wasn't he? I think, wasn't he? Yeah. Byram were left back.
Yeah.
Bogle right back. So yeah, I think that were the only changes really. But apart from that, it were pretty much what I expected.
Are you worried at all about the fullback situation moving forward? Just obviously, we haven't got Firpo now until I believe it's mid-Jan. And we all know how well Firpo's been playing when he's been fully fit. I did feel that Max Ferber came in against Middlesbrough and did put in a good performance. I know he scored the own goal, but I don't really blame him too much for that. I thought other than that, he had a good game. But again, I do think Byram is definitely an adequate player to come in and do that job. I would prefer him on the right, obviously because he's right-footed. But that left-back situation, what does Isaac Schmidt have to do to get into the team? I don't know.
Exactly that, really. I think Byram's obviously a good option there, isn't he? But he can't. He seems to struggle to kind of put a run of games together. I think his fitness isn't great, is he? I think he does do a job for us, but and I think we
can't
do
really
look
do a 3-game week, can he?
No, exactly.
No.
And I think we do look a good team with Byram in it because defensively he's good. Going forward, he does chip in with goals, but I think he can't put a run of 3 games together in a week, or even maybe 2 games together in a week. But going back to what you said about Schmidt, what does he need to do to get a game? Because I don't know what you think, Charlie. When he's played and come on, he's looked neat, he's looked tidy, he's looked good on the ball. He seems to be able to defend good. He seems to be able to get forward good. Obviously, he's had that hernia injury, hasn't he? But which has kind of hampered him a little bit. But I don't know. I don't know if you agree with this, Charlie, but I think he needs to be given a little bit more of a chance.
Yeah, I agree. I think, it is only a small sample size from the minutes that we've seen of him. I remember when he came on at Sunderland away, I thought he looked really good. I think I've only actually seen him once in the flesh at Ellen Road. I think he came on for a few minutes in one of the most recent home games. But yeah, I really don't get why Farkas isn't utilising him on that left-hand side. I know Byram, like you've said, is a good player, and he is. But his injury situation isn't great. He can't really do a 3-game week. So if he's going to rotate with Firpo being out, I feel like Schmidt should at least give him, the 20 minutes, the classic 70-minute mark subs, at least put him on then. But yeah, obviously, let's just get into the game a bit now. Where do we start? I actually didn't think we started the game that badly. I thought first 10-15 we looked okay. But I did feel from them going in front, I thought that's when it started to go downhill. I think it was a poor goal to concede. I mean, what stood out for you in terms of their goal? What were you most annoyed at? I think I can guess what you're going to
say. You know what? Yeah, I think you think I'm going to mention Melier right at the first, but I'm not going to mention Melier at the first. I think Stroik got spun a little bit too easily on the halfway line. I think in the build up to the goal, I think he seemed to go too tight to him, and then he seemed to move away a little bit. So it gave him that time to kind of spin and get a yard's kind of pace run on him. So he goes past him quite quickly. But then also what I find frustrating as well, that you've got Rodon in the middle there, kind of in no man's land. You see him, he doesn't really go to cover the space. He doesn't really go to kind of close that player down as well, or kind of move across to track the player who scored as well. So he was kind of caught in, Potts. He was caught in no man's land there as well. And then obviously kind of it was a great ball in, but don't get me wrong, but it should have been cut out, I think.
Yeah, it was avoidable.
And then it's straight at Melier, isn't it? I mean, let's be kind of blunt and truthful about this. At first, I thought, he's got an hand to it. It wasn't that bad, and then you see
it's always that, though, isn't it? Don't you think it's always that?
It's always that.
He got something on it, but he never gets enough.
Then I saw the camera view behind the goal, and it's straight at him. It's literally straight at him.
It is.
And then he gets his old freaking Poppadom wrist on it again, doesn't he? And it's
I call him the hologram. Things just go through him.
Useless bastard, I call it. Honest to God. But he seems to struggle, doesn't he? Where it's kind of near post or in them sort of positions, he seems to struggle. But yeah, he's got to do better than that. I think when you look at now, I think you look at previous games now, and you can almost point up, kind of tot up points now, can't you? That he's lost us over games. There's the Sunderland game. There's games before where it's gone through him at the near post, and it's like, he needs to start improving. Or I think
there was that goal. There was that goal against Portsmouth as well on the opening day. That was right at his near post. It just went through him like he wasn't even there. Exactly. And I think he's got some credit in the bank. He has had good games and that, and I understand why he's playing, because let's be honest, we don't want Carl Darlow or Alex Cairns in goal. No, with all due respect to them, but should we get promoted, there needs to be a serious change in the goalkeeping position. He needs to either be sold or he needs to be demoted to the bench, and we need to get someone that's Premier League worthy, don't we? I think.
Totally agree with you, Charlie. I think
if we can, that is.
I think if we do, I don't think he'd be happy to sit on the bench. I think he'd, if we do go up, I think he'd want to be straight out there. And I think there's been a few clubs touted, haven't there, recently? I think Rennes seems to be the latest team. I think that's the latest team that's been linked with him. But yeah, he just doesn't fill you with confidence. I think obviously when we were last in Premiership, he towards the back end of the season where we got relegated, he had a full-on wobbler, didn't he? We had to take him out of the team. Well, Sam Allardyce took him out of the team, didn't he?
Yeah, big Sam on it,
Yeah. And he just doesn't fill me with confidence. And it's quite disappointing, really, because I think when he first broke onto the scene and had his,
remember his debut against Arsenal? Remember his debut?
Honest to God.
Where he was spraying passes about like Iniesta and Xavi?
It was against Arsenal, wasn't it? I think
in Cup.
It was against Arsenal, and he was spraying it about, and it was like Franz Beckenbauer with gloves on, wasn't it? He was just like sweeper keeper, but he seems to have had that good season in the Premiership, and then after that, it's kind of gone downhill from there. And obviously, the same comments of, he's a decent shot stopper. He's not even a decent shot stopper anymore, I don't think. So.
No, it's frustrating as well because I think against Borough on Tuesday, I thought he actually had a good game. Obviously, there was that good save that he made from, was it Ben Doak, when he come out and he put him on his arse, and it's bad that every time he catches a ball at Ellen Road in South Stand, we all go, fucking hell, he's caught one. Like we go, and we shouldn't be doing that to his own goalkeeper.
No.
But yeah, it was just such an avoidable goal all round. I think it isn't just Meslier. I think I completely agree with what you said about Struijk. I thought he got done way too easily, and it was such a simple move. I think it was about 3 passes at the most, and it was in the goal.
Yeah,
and it's usually us that do that to teams on the counter attack. So it's quite strange to see it happen to us, but
I think. I think Struijk and Rodden have got a lot of credit in the bank, haven't they? I think. But it's unusual. I've not seen Struijk get kind of spun and outpaced like that for a very long time, and I've not seen Rodon get caught in no man's land like that for quite a long time. But it's one goal, I guess. In it, we can be overly critical, overly harsh. It's one goal, but unlike Meslier, it's not just one goal, is it? It's a pattern of what we're seeing. We're seeing the same kind of goals go in. We're seeing the same kind of mistakes being made. So I think, back to the original thing, Charlie, I think if we do get promoted, I think I'd have him straight out at door.
Yeah, I think, hopefully, I think we'll get away with him being in goal this season. Because of the standard of this league. I think us, Sheffield United, Sunderland, and Burnley are probably the best 4 teams in the league. Other than that, it's pretty garbage. And that's no disrespect. I've seen some awful teams at Ellen Road this season. I'm thinking Plymouth, QPR, Derby, which is why I gave credit to Borough on Tuesday night, who actually came and tried to play football, which was quite good. But just very briefly, Brendan Aronson. Talk to me.
Okay, right. It's a controversial debate, isn't it, Brendan Aronson?
Yeah,
and
that chance in the first half that he put over the bar. Oh.
I thought he'd gone out for a corner or something. I thought he'd shot and it clipped someone's heel and gone flying over the bar. I think he can be. I think he can be quite. I think a little bit naive in possession sometimes. He can hang on to the ball a little bit too long. He can run down these corridors.
I think he's in his own head a bit. I think he's in his own head a bit.
I do. But I think, if he was kind of strutting about and not really doing out on the pitch, I think the criticism could be warranted. But he works his socks off. And, he's chipped in with the goals as well. I mean, how many has he got this season? 5 goals.
Something like that, yeah.
I think, it can be frustrating. But for me, at this moment in time, I'd play him. And I think he is overall having a good season. Although he is frustrating, I don't think what he's doing is costing us too much in a game, if I'm being honest. So for me, he stays. But yeah, what do you think, Charlie?
You see, I agree with a lot of what you've just said. And I think if he was just strutting about the pitch, not putting effort in, I think the criticism would be a lot worse, obviously.
Yeah.
Like you said, he has chipped in with goals and he does work hard, but I would like to see a change, I'll be honest. Just to, even if it's just one game, just to see just what the difference is. Maybe do it against Oxford. Do it against Oxford. You know, I think Largy could be very good in that 10. Nonto, again, not been performing great of late. I will admit that. But again, he could be effective centrally, I think. Just something different, you know, and I saw a lot of people on Twitter yesterday saying that all that this team's missing is that creative number 10. Someone like a Buendia, like what Farker had at Norwich, or you know, even if there's talks briefly, weren't they, about that Carvalho at Brentford is a bit out of favour there, isn't it?
Yeah,
that would be an unbelievable loan if we could get that through the door.
He smashed it at Hull last season, didn't he?
Who's that lad who's at Stockport on loan from Aston Villa that people are wanting?
Louis Barry.
That'd be an unreal loan as well if we could get that. But again,
I heard someone mention, is that Gareth Barry's son? I don't know if someone were pulling my pizza, but someone said, because he's come through the ranks at Villa, hasn't he?
And he played at Villa, didn't he, Gareth Barry? Yeah.
Someone said it's his son, but I don't know if they were having me on.
I can neither confirm or deny that.
But yeah, honest. To go, he's smashing it at Stockport, isn't he? Something like 14 goals in
exactly
19 games.
I think Brendan's end product just needs to be improved on drastically, I think. And again, that might sound daft because he has scored a few goals, but it's just that final ball. It's either too light or too much, or like his decision making can be poor at times. But again, I understand why he's playing, and I doubt that we will see him get dropped. But I ain't even saying drop him because that sounds harsher than what I actually mean. I would just like to see a change.
I know exactly what you mean. I know it may be just a little experiment to see if we can better that position and be a little bit more productive in that position.
Either that, or if he wants to keep starting him, that's fine. But take him off a bit earlier and let someone else go in centrally for a good 20 minutes, half an hour, and just see if they can have a different impact.
So you've mentioned maybe a couple of players that can play centrally, but do you see, if Ampadu comes back in, do you see either Tanaka or Rothwell being able to move up a little bit further in the pitch? Do you think that's an experiment that's worth trying as well?
Yeah, I do. I think if one of them was going to go further forward, I think I'd rather have Rothwell in that 10, just because I think he would be a slightly more of a goal threat than Tanaka. I think we saw yesterday, albeit they had about 5 or 6 men on line, but when that chance fell to Tanaka, did it quite tame, didn't he? Didn't really, and we've seen Joe Rothwell score some beauties for Southampton on loan last season. I think it's something different, whether it's Tanaka or Rothwell, whether it's Largy, whether it's Nonto, even Dan James. Just something different.
Do you think Solomon could do a job there? Obviously, he's quite creative, isn't he?
He has got quite a good low centre of gravity, I think, hasn't he? And I think out wide he always cuts inside anyway. He never goes on outside, does he? It's something that is something that's a bit of a frustration in South Stand every week, to be honest. We all say it week in, week out, like, why does he not take his man on a bit more? But
I think to go back to what you said, I think I fully agree with you, mate. I think it's not it's not saying, right, get him out of the team because of this reason and that's it. It's having an experiment to see whether something else works a bit better, or if we've got a plan in case Aronson gets injured. So I agree.
Farker's just one of them, isn't he? Where if he picks a team and it works, he likes to stick with it, doesn't he? And again, it has worked in other games. I just think it'd be nice just to see a little bit of a change. But
one thing's for sure, though, Charlie, we won't be bringing in a number 10. I don't think we'll be buying him. No.
I could put good money on the fact I don't even think we'll get anyone I don't think we'll
No.
bring anyone in.
I don't. Unless
If
there's some sort of injury over the next
yeah,
few weeks. I agree
I
with
do. I do think though that if we do sign someone, I think it will be a 10.
you. Yeah.
If there's one position that I think we would get, I think it would be a 10. But let's just speak about the big other talking point from that first half. The ref. Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to blame referees usually, and I genuinely
Yeah.
don't. I'm not taking piss. I genuinely do not. I think there's no point blaming ref. It's it's the players, it's
There's
far,
every
whatever.
point blaming him. He had a fucking nightmare. Come
But
on.
yes, that yesterday was, I think, comfortably the worst referee I've seen all season. I thought he completely, and it's not even just the big decision that he fucked up. That pissed me off. It was the fact that he just lost grip of that game completely.
Yeah.
He lost
Yeah.
all respect from them players, from Leeds and Preston.
Yeah.
But the big decision, I mean, his first one is the card he actually give him was definitely a yellow because he pulls Aronson back. If he don't pull
Yeah.
him back, Brendan's away.
Yeah.
But that second one on Bogle, now I'm not. The only reason why I think he didn't give it is because of how quick it was after the first yellow. For one,
Yeah.
and for two, because he actually did get the ball in the first instance. But
Yeah.
it's not that he got the ball; it's the follow through. If you look at the follow through, his studs are high.
Yeah.
And the pundits even said it's endangering an opponent. That's what they say.
Yeah.
And I think he completely and utterly bottled that decision big time. But anyway,
he did.
Discuss.
When I I'm gonna fucking discuss it, mate. I was fuming. When I first saw it. So when I first saw it, I saw the challenge come in, and I went, whoa, that's shocking. Get him off. I didn't realise it were Whiteman at first who were on a second yellow. I thought it would I just thought it were one of the other players, and I was like, that's a straight red. And then I was watching it with someone else actually, and they're like, that's him who's on a booking. I was like, right. Rubbed my hands together. I thought, right. I thought, right, he's off here. That's a second yellow. We're going to get control of this game now, potentially win it. And then when he was talking to him, I thought, he's not going to give him a yellow. How is that not a yellow card? When it shows you in slow motion, like all challenges, they look worse. But his foot goes over the ball, his studs connect just below his knee, and then you see the referee in eyesight of it. The referee is feet away. He's not far away from that challenge at all. So the only thing I can think of is what you've said, Charlie, is he's absolutely bottled it. Obviously, it's close to his booking, but it doesn't matter where it happens on the pitch, what time it happens on the pitch, if it's been a booking 2 seconds before or 10 minutes before. It's a straight red. Never mind the second yellow. And it is a straight red.
He ends up giving like Fark a yellow card and someone from their coaching team. I'm like, Fark's well within his right to be complaining about that. Like, it isn't, it isn't like a Jurgen Klopp, is he? Just storming on pitch for no reason or all like that. And again, I'm not blaming that decision on the outcome of what happened in game, obviously, but that could have really changed our fortunes in that game. Massively.
Massively. The out of 10 men, they're on the back foot. Momentum turns in our favour. We get a goal before half time. The second half's ours then, basically. So that's how big of an impact that decision had on the game. I think it was massively pivotal.
And then Paul Eckingbottom, in fairness to him, he was smart at half time because he subbed him off.
Yeah. Well,
which
I think
which screams out to me that he knew that were a second yellow and he got away with it massively.
Of course he does. I think we were talking in WhatsApp group, weren't we? I think, and I said, we said, I bet he takes him off at half time because he more or less just clips anyone and he's off. So I think Eckingbottom did right thing there, but like you said, it's kind of a sign of a guilty, an admission that should have been a red if they're taking him straight off at half time, because I thought the decision against Blackburn. Do you remember the decision, the knee-high tackle in the Blackburn game where he should have been sent off as well?
On Firpo,
I thought that was bad. But this, it was shocking, mate. And I think, you know, I think it needs. No, it'll happen. They should make a complaint about it, but whether
We'll just
Park
get
wants to go down,
another.
he'll get
What is it?
Park will get a second yellow or and get a red card for
and
game.
an apology letter or something probably from
Which means
whoever.
nothing.
But
Which means for all, does
exactly,
it? It means
exactly.
nothing. But yeah,
Anyway, into the second half. Again, I thought we played a bit better in the second half. I think we did push it a little bit more, but again, just not clinical enough, or just misplacing passes. You know, it's an off day when Tanaka's misplacing passes, and you know the subs are just like. I understand you're chasing a game, so you make changes up front, but we had about 6 or 7 attackers on pitch at end of game, and fair play to him. It worked to a degree in the end, but Fark and his subs and just the general away performances. I mean, like, I don't understand why we're so different away from home. Don't know if you've got a theory, mate, but I'm at a loss with it.
Well, I think for me, it's like, is it a mentality thing with the players? Because obviously, you know, there's talk about Fark's tactics, but he's pretty much setting up away from home exactly what he does at home.
Yeah.
So what else can he change? And obviously, we are chasing a game, so probably he does have to bring attackers on. So that makes me think, what can he do to dramatically change our fortunes away from home? Is it a change in formation? Is it a change? You know, do we put 2 up front? You know, do we put Bamford on a bit more of a focal point up front? Because it's like you say, we're a bit too passive away from home, and I don't understand why.
I think we're in desperate need of a focal point, especially away from home. I was just thinking then, I mean, you know, at home, we have all the ball. Teams 9 times out of 10 part the bus. They just let us have the ball. And I think that's why it feels a bit more comfortable, and that eventually we'll get maybe 2 goals in first half, and then we can just sit off. But away from home, I think away from home, I think these teams are realising that Leeds can be got at away from home, and I think they set up a bit differently. You know, it's mad because Blackburn have beaten us other week, and yet we've got them on New Year's Day at home. It wouldn't surprise me if we easily beat them at home.
Yeah, we probably will.
It's two different. That's more frustrating to me. I think if one thing is going to cause Leeds to not go up this season, at the minute, it'll be the away form if it continues like this.
Yeah, I think we really are in danger of making this league, you know, hard work for ourselves, because obviously the league, it's nowhere near as tough and competitive as it was last season. And I think, you know, I'm just concerned that we're going to do what we always do, is where we're going to, you know, make hard work of it. And when it comes to pinch towards end of season, where we have a couple of must-win games, we don't win them. And, you know, that's how it usually goes for us, because...
I had a brief thought yesterday. Could you imagine if it goes down to the final game and it's Plymouth away?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rooney needs it to stay up. Rooney needs it to stay up. But yeah, I just think, I don't know what it is with away, because I don't know if it's a mentality thing. One thing I do see though is teams are a lot more physical with us away from home than they are at Ellen Road. So is it are we struggling with the physical side of it? Because Preston were very physical with us.
They're a physical side, aren't they?
They're a physical side. There were a lot of, you know, fucking Brexit challenges getting slung in, weren't there? There was, you know, throwing his players about, you know, some studs showing. And I don't know, do we struggle with the physical side of it? Is it, you know, a mentality thing? I'm not too sure. And if I'm being totally honest, I'm not too sure what Fark does either to kind of change it around, because, you know, the changes that he does make are logical ones. We're losing, you know, we do have to bring attackers on. The only thing we can do is kind of try different formation, you know, try 2 up front. That's all the thing.
I kind of want to hear what you've got to say about this, because you briefly mentioned it off air, but we've spoke about a focal point. Patrick Bamford came on. And that chance that he missed had an XG of 0.98, which means 98% of the time that goes in. So talk to me about Patrick Bamford.
You know what? I think the only player who could miss that is Patrick Bamford, and you've got to feel for the lad as well, haven't you? Because you
have a little bit.
He gets a lot of stick from Leeds fans, haven't you? And they're probably a lot of what our fan base can get like, as soon as he misses
himself though, does he?
He doesn't help himself though. A few, he misses that, and fan base are like that, right? Straight onto it. Let's get on thinking. But yeah, I watched it in slow motion, and it's kind of he
tries to flick it, doesn't he? Tries to flick it instead of just putting it in normally.
So I think he runs into the box, and he's timing in running towards the ball and connecting with the ball. It's a little bit too much. So you find he's kind of dragging the balls behind him a little bit. So that's why he tries to, he tries that flick, and
it's one of them where if it goes in, it's a good finish, isn't it? But
Bamford could miss that, and although you do feel for him, he's got to put them chances away. I think it costs us a lot, and it's just it's the kind of miss that you've come to expect from him. I think, unfortunately, and I think probably as thankful as I am that for what he's done for us over the years, he's not really done anything for us in past 3 years, has he? He's not been able to string probably 5 games together in the past 3 years, and I think his time's come. But he's on a big wage. He's got a poor injury record, so I think we're stuck with him as well.
£35,000 a week.
Well, it were double that, wasn't it? Until it got halved as well, which makes it sound even more ridiculous. So
Anyway, but obviously Joseph came on, and I say he scored the equaliser. It did go down as an own goal, and it actually did come off the Preston player, to be fair. But I don't think that goal happens if he doesn't make that run, and kind of puts him off. But obviously, I think that's a bit of a debate at the minute as well, isn't it? About Perrault, Joseph. I think I'm in the camp now. See, I've been saying to my dad for a few weeks now that strikers are judged on goals, and that Perrault should be starting because he knows where the back of the net is. Joseph's only scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
But I think now when I'm seeing how certain teams set up at Ellen Road and how teams set up on the road, I think Perrault should start home games, and I think Joseph should start away games. Personally, or even the other way around. I think one of them should start at home and the other should start away, because I think both have got good qualities about them. I think Perrault's finishing's obviously like top notch, but he hasn't really got that much pace. He doesn't really occupy the centre backs as much as I'd like him to. But then Joseph
as well, isn't it?
Hasn't scored. Yeah, exactly. Whereas Joseph can press, he's got pace, he can make good runs in behind, he works the centre backs, but his finishing needs to be improved. So where do you kind of stand on them two at the minute?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, to be honest, Charlie. I think when you're at home, I think obviously the game's more open for us, and I think that's where Perrault comes into his own. But I think probably the Preston game's a perfect example, isn't it? Where you need a striker to be physical, you need a striker to be direct, you need plenty of running, you need plenty of aggression. And Perrault's not that kind of player, is he? So
he was non-existent again, wasn't he? He was non-existent.
Honest to God, I don't know what he does before a game. He looks so relaxed, whether he's having I'm going to say he's either had a massive, massive bong before a game because the camera just kind of zoomed in on him and he was like that. His eyes were nearly closed.
He looks blazed all the time.
I know, like, we 1-0 down, mate. You look freaking blazed out your head. Or he either has a really good massage before a game, but I think, when he's half asleep. But yeah, I think there would just kind of no sort of. You want a bit of aggression from your forwards in those kind of games. You want them to get into defenders. You want them running into spaces. You want them latching onto balls, and he's not that kind of player. But his finishing's perfect. But I think I'm with you on that, Charlie. I think probably Joseph is suited a little bit more away from home because he makes them runs, he gets in amongst defenders. Obviously, his finishing in there, as we've seen it past couple of games.
I think his link-up plays a bit better than Perot's as well.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think probably next away game I would give Joseph a go because he's going to work those defenders more, and that in turn creates more opportunities for your players as well.
The next away game is Stoke on Boxing Day.
Is it a Tuesday night? God, Tuesday night in Stoke.
Thursday night, is it? Yeah, Thursday night. Thursday night, isn't it? But
perfect chance to do it.
Even when the fixtures came out, that game gave me a little bit of like fright, just because it's Stoke away on Boxing Day, and at 8 o'clock kickoff at night as well. But just briefly, speak about some teams in and around us and the results they picked up. Obviously, Sheffield United won, unfortunately, but again, it was Plymouth at home. That was to be expected. I watched a bit of it. By all accounts, Plymouth were actually the better team. They had more possession and everything, but again, they just weren't clinical enough. Sunderland came from getting beat to win at Swansea 3-2.
2-0 down, weren't there?
Something like that, yeah. And it was the Schneid Jude Bellingham that got the winner.
It was quite like his brother the goal as well, wasn't it? Arriving late in box and finishing it.
He's literally, I know the brothers, but he's literally his twin, isn't he? They're spitting image of each other.
There's no DNA test needed there, is there, Charlie? I think the absolute double of each other. I think even he's starting to kind of develop physically. Physically like him as well. He's getting big, he's getting strong on ball. They're looking quite similar, aren't they? But when I saw that they were 2-0 down, I thought, that'll do us.
I know.
I never expected Sheffield United to lose that game, not in a million years. Would it 1-0 it finished or
2-0?
2-0 it finished. Yeah, I didn't expect them.
I think it was Hamer and Kiefer Moore scored a penalty as well.
Big Lurch up front, latching on to something.
Yeah, and then today, I was buzzing to see that that Norwich had scored within the first 2 minutes against Burnley, but Burnley ended up winning the game 2-1. So that puts us only a point clear of the playoffs at the minute. But I think after yesterday's performance and the result, to still be in the top 2, I think I'll take that as a win. I'll be honest. Again, even if we'd have won the game, it'd have still been the case that Sheffield United were top. So I don't care if we take it in turns, been top of the league all season. I'm not bothered about finishing first, as long as we're in that top 2. And I'm just saying, as I'm checking scores as well, I know it's Premier League, but Spurs are battering Southampton 4-0 already.
Oh, are they? Who scored? I've got Solanke and Ben Johnson in the FPL team. Have any of them scored?
None of them have scored. No, we've got James Maddison, Son, Kulusevski, and Pape Sarr.
Okay, and they are doomed out the Southampton.
It's added time in first half as well.
Cricket score incoming, maybe. Cricket score.
Who wants Premier League anyway?
Exactly. You know what? I was speaking to my dad about this not so long ago. You know, it's seen as the promised land, isn't it? The Premier League. And when you see these teams who have come up and, you know, who you think are going to do well, obviously Ipswich have spent a lot of money. They're struggling.
Yeah.
Southampton can't. You know, they've got Russell Martin who plays this brilliant brand of football. They get
change. Change.
And that's the Premiership, isn't it? It's seen as the promised land, and what are you pushing for? You know, mediocrity at best when you go up. So it's quite a depressing thought when you think about it.
The journey is always better than the destination.
It is.
But hopefully it's better for us should we get there. But I don't know about you, mate, but I think we can maybe leave it there for this one.
Yeah. Good podcast.
I think it's been a good debut podcast. Like I say, everyone, we are brand new. We're wanting to try and grow it as quickly as possible. You know, so if you can share it with your friends, family, neighbours, work colleagues, whoever, let's try and get more eyes on it. anyone
like and
you
subscribe.
want.
Yeah.
And please subscribe because it would mean a lot. And obviously, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram and Twitter and Blue Sky as well, which is a new one. We're on that as well.
Speaking of TikTok, I did put a little thing on my on my Wacko TV. I wanted to get make this a little bit interactive, this first one, but which we're going to do moving forward. I think we've all so it may be a little bit too early, this one, but I just put a video on my TikTok basically saying I was having a conversation with my friend the other day about how childish I get after a Leeds game and how petulant I get after a Leeds game. You know, I'm shocking. Really bad. Yeah, so I put a video on TikTok basically asking everybody to give me their answers on how they react to a game. And you know what answers I got? I got arson and bestiality. So I thought we best not put them on here.
We won't repeat that on here.
We won't repeat on here, definitely. Although I think the bestiality one must be an Huddersfield Town fan. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's all we'll say. I think people can maybe put 2 and 2 together on that one now.
Definitely.
But yeah, like Mike said, we want it to be, in interactive, which we will do. I'm sure moving forward, we're going to try and get some bits out this week as well. Obviously, as we go into Oxford on Saturday. Yeah. So, like I said, hit the notification bell so that you're always aware of when content's coming. Please please subscribe, comment all of your thoughts as well. And yeah, I think we'll leave it there for this week. Thanks in advance, everyone that's watching. And we'll see you in the next one.
On to the next one, guys. Thanks a lot. See you. Bye.